Oh, welcome to the Kickoff.
Good-looking truck, brother.
Presented by Ram Trucks. He is Gary Striewski. I am Randy Scott. You can usually see us together, Sports Center AM.
Come on.
7 a.m. Eastern.
Let's go.
How many days a week do we got now? Like 4?
Too many.
We got 4, right?
Okay,
Friday,
4. Never mind. Not
Friday,
enough.
Through Monday. So what do? We set the table for college football, NFL. We wrap it all up as well. The college game giveth, man. We're only week 1 official down.
Table's empty. We're going to set it.
Well, and now we got week 2.
Come on.
We got a lot of storylines, a lot of teams. I'm going to give you my top 12, right?
Randy,
my college football
learning
playoff
how numbers work on the fly.
predictions. Yeah, we're learning. I was told there would be no math. I want to dive into the fact that Trevor Matich almost broke my hand.
Sure.
When I saw him earlier, he's over there, unrepentant.
He's going to join the program.
A little bit later in the show. Let's dive into some storylines coming off of some early reactions to what we saw last week.
Let's do it.
You're going to tell us big deal or no deal.
Okay.
Let's start with big hype, and that's Colorado. Colorado didn't look dominant, okay? They did their job, though. They got that win against North Dakota State. That's not an easy team to schedule out of the chute. They went out there and won. But now Coach Prime is being a little demure.
Sure. Oh.
A little.
He's being mindful. He is being mindful.
And he, ahead of this matchup with Nebraska, he's even gone so far as to praise Matt Rhule, the quarterback there of the Huskers. Big deal or no big deal?
This is a big deal because we know the bravado that Coach Prime brings with him ahead of matchups about his team, the confidence that he has in his son/quarterback, Deion Sanders, and the all-world do-everything in Travis Hunter. That being said, after what he saw from his team against FCS, mind you, powerhouse North Dakota State.
Sure.
He doesn't want to poke the bear too much, not necessarily with Matt Rhule, but with who Matt Rhule has as his quarterback in Dylan Raiola, because I think what we are going to see is Deion Sanders sort of look in the mirror at the other sideline at a quarterback that can manufacture the same type of plays.
This reminds me, all due respect to USC, I don't want to besmirch your name. It reminds me of that matchup with SC last year, where it was Caleb Williams and company going into Boulder, right, going into Folsom Fields, and Shedeur matched him shot for shot. If Shedeur had any semblance of an offensive line, if he had any semblance of a defensive line, maybe the Buffs get out of there with that win. They traded blows, right?
Also, not for nothing, too. I mean,
no, I was done.
Going up in Colorado, I am glad to see these teams meet now, obviously different conferences, but this used to be the game in the Big 12 when it was CU versus Nebraska, separated by a state line. I'm pretty sure my geography still checks out.
That is correct.
And now you can resume your take.
No, that's fine. Actually, in the B block, we're going to get to more of Gary's childhood, as well as a geography lesson from the Gare Bear.
Sure.
It's called Have You Ever Seen a Map?
Wait till I tell you about Wyoming, north of Colorado.
What I was going to say is Raiola's going to trade shot for shot with Shedeur. It's going to be a coming out party for Raiola.
Correct.
For those who are uninitiated.
Because what do you do at parties? Shot for shot.
Perhaps. Sometimes it's important to
hydrate. If you're of age.
Let's get to the ACC. Miami has entered this
drinking for all the wrong reasons.
Miami went into the swamp, smacked up the Gators.
They are doo-doo.
First up, the Gators didn't look great. The first time that Florida has lost a home opener, a home season opener, since 1989, and it was because of Cam Ward.
I wasn't born.
Cam Ward has started at Immaculate Word or Incarnate Word, I forget which one it is, went out to Washington State. He have game will travel. That man's in the Heisman discussion. I'm curious, big deal, no deal, Miami as a whole, especially after what we saw. Florida State lost twice and Clemson lost.
I'm going to give you an Immaculate Word right now.
Go ahead.
Championship. That is what I see out of Miami, not nationally, but in the conference, ACC. Yes, it's early, but Miami looked great. They had to go into the swamp and knock off a Florida team. As you mentioned, they don't lose home openers. Florida State doesn't look good. Well, we know Florida State ain't good. Okay.
Florida State
Clemson, yes, they lost to Georgia, but quickly Miami is rising to the ranks, the cream of the crop of the ACC, and it's just big, large in part due to Cam Ward transferring from Wazoo. He's leading the offense, man.
He's leading the offense, busted play after busted play. Listen, it wasn't that the offensive line had a great day. Florida pushed him around a little bit, but Cam Ward can extend the play. Cam Ward found a tight end, Gary, who was a freshman in 2016.
The Obama administration.
In 2016.
3 administrations ago. Not to get political or anything.
But he was there. I mean, he's a 9-year player in college football, and he scored a touchdown at Florida. Hey, 9 years ago, that was the last time Florida was any good. That's what you said. That's what Gary said.
No, that is what I said.
That was hurtful. Oregon was good just a year ago. Dan Lanning and company, though, a little dicey out of the gate. They played the Idaho Vandals. The Vandals came in, dictated pace. They were within a score in the second half, had a couple of trick plays. Okay, interesting. Is it a big deal or no big deal that Oregon struggled out of the gates the way they did?
Big deal in both because Oregon, we did it on SportsCenter that EA Sports, yes, I know they're in the game, but they are also the game, ran a simulation, and they were going to be the national champions. Yeah. I know it's just a simulation. True. Listen, it's also a big deal that Randy skipped over the fact that his nickname was Randall the Vandal thanks to those misdemeanor charges in high school, which they were expunged.
Right, and that was
you were a minor
scandal,
yes.
right? Randall Vandal scandal. That's what that
Correct.
was. Yeah.
So both big deals that that their quarterback, Mr. Gabriel, is supposed to be a Heisman frontrunner, but they barely escaped Idaho.
Yeah, he had a great individual day.
Sure.
Threw for more than 350 passing yards, had a touchdown. What was concerning was the way that the drives would stall out. Stalling out like, certainly
like somebody who doesn't know how to drive a stick shift.
Exactly.
It's the millennial anti-theft, to which I drive a stick shift.
Correct.
Because I'm cool like that.
Obviously. And,
yeah.
I mean, talk about it more.
Because you stole a car, and that's why they called you Randall the Vandal.
Do you ever, when you reach to pat yourself on the back, do you ever strain your shoulder?
Actually, my shoulder is hurt after throwing that first pitch the other night, 100 miles an hour. Maybe you saw it on SportsCenter. Okay.
Yeah,
Plus, this isn't a four-way stretch.
That was the most lollipop 100 miles an hour. You would have killed the batter, though.
It's called a change-up?
The batter box. I'll say this. Oregon will right the ship. Oregon, little taster. How about this for a little tease? A little what's ahead in the college football playoff rankings that I'm going to unveil.
Okay.
Unveil or veal, either one. One's delicious. One's uncovering. I got Oregon in the top 12 when it counts the most.
Whoa,
at the
top
end.
12.
More from Gary, more from Randy coming up. Time now for Built for Success, presented by Ram Trucks. We got an early season top 10 matchup. Number 3 Texas is in Ann Arbor facing number 10 Michigan. It's a rare matchup. Got two of the winningest programs in college football history. Two of the playoff teams last season, neither figures to be out of the newly expanded college football playoff picture with a loss. It's so early, but the winner's going to find itself in the conversation for instant title contender.
Sure.
Only a couple weeks in. Let's welcome in Trevor Matich. Speaking of champions,
speaking of champions, and Trevor Matich joins the program.
You are welcome.
The man in black.
Still super strong.
Forget about
still
Johnny
super
Cash.
Strong.
The man in black. We're going to play a game with Trevor.
Okay.
Let me see that tiny fist.
That hurts.
Sorry. That's such a small
Trevor, I'm right here.
fist.
But they're strong. They're nimble. Okay.
You could punch very small things, though. That's
We're going to view
this guy.
We're going to view this game through a different lens. We're going to play a little livestock game. Okay, we're going to assign Bevo meters to this because Michigan was underwhelming last week. I think we can say that. Fresno State came in, hung around late. They were within one score in the fourth quarter. So we're going to assign Bevos, right, in honor of you're taking on the Horns.
Yep,
you said too much metal for one hand.
That's right. Boom. Bang.
That's a different thing.
We're going to read off a statement.
Ozzy Osbourne or something.
That's what it is. That's it. My guy knows metal.
We're going to read off a statement. Does he know metal from the aughts, though?
True.
Does he know emo? Does he know emo metal?
Was there metal in the aughts?
There's maybe some. Okay, we're going to read off a statement about Michigan. If it's no BS, okay, if it's a true statement, you're going to give it 1 Bevo.
Okay.
If you're not sure, middle of the road, 2 Bevos. If it stinks, it's total BS. That is 3 Bevos. You got me?
Yes.
Got me? Okay, well, don't breathe in too deeply if it's bad.
I get it. No, I get it.
Bad.
What's the
We're
first
going to read off the first statement. Number 1, Michigan kicking off its season, 30-10 victory over Fresno State. A little closer than the final score might indicate. They only had 2 offensive touchdowns. They lost 13 players to the NFL draft from last year's title-winning team. They also lost their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, to the NFL. The statement is, Michigan fans will be patient with Sharon Moore. How many Bevos are you giving that?
I'd give that 2. Here's why.
Gary. Even Bevo's like, really?
Yeah, no. The thing about it is that last year they won the national championship. Fans are now spoiled. But Michigan fans are smart. And they know that Sharon Moore came in as a new head coach with having to replace 10 of 11 starters on offense, including the entire offensive line and quarterback. Is it Sharon Moore's fault that his top 2 quarterbacks on the depth chart against Fresno State combined for 0 completions last year in a season where they blew out most teams that they played? They didn't get those guys ready for this year. Is that Sharon Moore's fault or is that Jim Harbaugh's fault? Michigan fans understand this.
Okay, Gary, how many Bevos you giving this?
Give me 3. I need all 3 of them. Yes, Sharon Moore is officially the head coach this year, but he got a little warm-up last season as he was the guy filling in for Harbaugh. And listen, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? These are the defending national champs.
Yeah.
This is Michigan. You can go to the portal. You can be one of the best recruits in the nation. This is one of those programs that's supposed to just reload, and fans expect that.
Heavy is the what?
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
No,
Boom.
I think it's
when you're the king.
I think it's heavy as the crown that wears the head.
That too?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I'm not sure. I think I've always said it your way. I'm giving it 2 Bevos. I think Michigan fans are smart. I think they're also delusional.
Okay.
Because they were the ones, hold on, they were going to run off Jim Harbaugh just a couple years ago.
Because they know where you live.
Couldn't beat Ohio State. They know where to find me. I'm here in Bristol. But they were going to run off Harbaugh. So I don't think they're going to give Moore too much latitude. Maybe one adjustment season, but next year he's going to have to bring it. But he's not going to lose his job this year. Let's move on. We mentioned the 13 players that Michigan lost to the draft. Among those, Blake Corum, leading running back. Among them, J.J. McCarthy. He's now quarterback in Minnesota, although injured. My question is here, Michigan, the statement, Michigan will struggle offensively this season. How many Bevos you giving that, Trev?
A 2.
Oh, middle of the road
Middle
again.
of the road
Trevor,
again.
Come on, man.
Middle of the road Matich is what they
You
call
want me
it.
just to go have a hot steaming cake just to have it?
We have a fire on set for a
a
reason.
fire is different from a Bevo pile, okay? So that's
fair.
Completely different kind of hot take.
That's fair.
No, because it was underwhelming, the chemistry of Michigan's offense against Fresno State. They couldn't throw the ball down the field. The run game was hit and miss. The blocking was hit and miss. But these guys are all talented. They are going to get better. So I'm not ready to say that, yeah, their offense is going to be no good all season long, 12 games, and then beyond. I think that they will get better and better every week.
Gosh,
Gary.
I think it's must win for the fact that the Big Ten got more condensed. Yes, you can let 12 in, but Michigan already went from 9 to 10. Ohio State looking like the cream of the crop. If they win, cool. So at this point, you're hoping for Michigan to be an at-large? I don't know about that. They have to have a statement win, and there's no bigger statement than beating Texas, the number 3 team in the country.
Offensively, are they going to struggle this season?
100%, yes.
They will.
What do we
I'm
say?
giving
What do
it
we
1,
say about
2.
2 quarterbacks?
I'm also,
if you got 2 quarterbacks, you ain't got no quarterbacks.
Correct, and we said it in unison sometimes, right? Sometimes we say it in stereo.
And
so
whose
I'm giving
fault
it
is
1
that?
Bevo. Whose fault is that? I mean, maybe not a quarterback stepped up.
Yeah.
Orgy and Warren,
Hence
nobody
number 2 on question number 1.
stepped up.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we move on to the next question, and it does include the expanded college football playoff scenario. Last year, defending champion Michigan ran through Alabama, exorcised the demons. They went through and got that done, right? You've seen Poltergeist. You know what it is. This house is clean. So they went ahead and they did that. What about this one here? 12-team. Give us your Bevo meter. It's a 12-team playoff. This is a must-win for Michigan, Trev.
Come on, Trev.
3.
Total BS.
This is Gary's bathtub.
Trevor!
Filled with Bevos.
First of all, I only have stand-up
Product.
showers. It's more efficient.
Your poor dog.
Wait, this is not a
Now I got to
must-win?
get that vision out of my head.
Why?
Yeah, well, hey, it's efficient. Military showers. Quick.
Why
Water's
is
expensive.
this? They could lose out of the gate to their first test.
Right, because their offense is as bad as it's going to be all season long. We start there, they'll get better. It's a non-conference game. If they win the conference championship, they will probably get one of those automatic berths. And the thing is, they've got to win 2 of USC, Oregon, Ohio State. If they win 2 of those, and then a sneaky tough game at Washington, then they can get into the conference championship game and possibly win the conference no matter what happens in this game. This game would be nice to win, but a must-win? That is a steaming pile filling Gary's shower.
All right, Gary.
Yes, I'm going to have to call somebody on that, but it's a 1. This is a must-win because of what Trevor just said. That schedule entails USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Washington. That is insane. And if you lose to all of those Big Ten guys, there's no way you're going to win the conference. So then at that point, it's like there's so many other teams that we've seen just 1 week into the season that already have my mind tabbed as at-large bids.
That's 4 losses if they play the way they did against Fresno State.
Oh, sure.
Every single one of those.
Yeah.
Oregon,
Do you have a calendar?
Washington.
Because those games are after Fresno State. They have a chance to get better
Which
with the
was
new
a win.
guys.
They also have a chance to not look good at all Saturday against Texas.
Hazmat to your shower, Gary.
If they lose to Ohio State,
got
if Michigan does not win the Big Ten, then it's going to come down to resume. This is a massive resume opportunity. I want to move forward. Speaking of Texas, we've shown so much love to Michigan so far. Texas lost a ton of talent to the NFL. Well, a lot of questions about Michigan.
True.
They had 11 players, these Longhorns did, taken in the draft back in April. They come out of the gates. They beat a Mountain West team. They beat the brakes off of Colorado State 52-0. Question now becomes, Texas is going to play in the SEC championship game this season. How many Bevos you giving it?
Oh, 2.
2. Middle of the
Trevor!
road. Matich.
Not middle of the road.
What's with this neutrality? Let's step over the aisle.
Neutrality.
Step over the aisle. Join us.
Okay. Here's something that is not neutral.
Yeah.
Okay.
your toupee looked good when you bought it, but it looks like it needs to be resized. Did your head shrink?
It might have. I did get a haircut.
I'm not worried about that.
Did get a haircut recently.
Texas is a really good team, but Georgia's probably going to be in the SEC championship game. Ole Miss is lights out. Alabama isn't going away. Tennessee has a puncher's chance with that passing game. Missouri has a more favorable schedule to get to the SEC championship game than Texas does, and Missouri right now is a top 10 team. So these are all teams competing for that other spot with Georgia. Texas is one of them that's very good. But if you say that it's a 1, they're going, you're nuts. If you say it's a 3, no way, you're nuts. There's a lot that can happen. That makes it a 2.
What about you? Are you nuts?
I guess I'm nuts. Listen, Trevor's playing it safe. He also bowls with the bumpers on. Give me a 1. Yes, Ole Miss hung up 76. Yes, Alabama hung up 62. But Texas hung up 52. And recency bias, I like what Quinn Ewers is doing. They lost their top 5 offensive weapons from last season, and that team just reloaded, Trevor. So give me Texas in the SEC championship in their maiden voyage in the conference.
Texas in the portal.
I didn't say they're going to win it. I'm just going to say they're playing in it.
And in the NIL was collecting infinity stones. They took one of Bama's wide receivers. They added talent offensively. Every team you mentioned, Trevor, besides Georgia, the best quarterback in that group is Quinn Ewers. 1 Bevo. Texas is playing Georgia in the SEC championship game. That is Trevor Matich. Who's going to win on Saturday, Michigan or
Trevor,
Texas?
you can help join us with the right pick.
Who's going to win?
Texas wins.
Thank you.
Wins.
Hey, we're back.
Texas
Trevor, we're so
and
back.
Trevor actually did say by what? You said 5 or 6 touchdowns, right?
Thank you for not
going to be close.
Thank you for not fist bumping me, because that would have just really.
Correct.
Really
oh, he just stole my.
He's got frying pan hands. That Trevor Matich.
He does. Thanks, Trev.
Yeah, and into the fire, buddy.
Oh, this is the best thing you will see today. It's the best thing we saw last week. Alabama hosting a young lady by the name of Susanna. She's battling a heart disease, and the team welcomed her, had her identify her favorite player. Quarterback Jalen Milroe, of course. And then they had her run a play
Convoy
against the defense.
Convoy!
And listen, when you have what? I want to say about 40 guys blocking for you, you're going to do all right. They got her into the end zone for 6. The team welcomed her with open arms. Kalen DeBoer, the head coach, saying this is going to be a regular thing at practice there in Tuscaloosa. Salute to you, Ty. That was outstanding. Salute to Susanna as well. We go from Alabama, a college football playoff mainstay.
Does your hand still hurt, by the way? Because Trevor's super strong.
Trevor has frying pan hands. It's like trying to shake hands with a garbage disposal.
Correct,
which I would
might not get it back.
You may not get all your digits back. So we're moving forward. No, let's check out Ohio State. Other teams that are contenders for the college football playoff.
Let's talk about it.
Right at the top of the table, and perhaps the most talented team in this field so far, Ohio State. They came out of the gates strong. You get Will Howard out there, transfer from K-State. All he has to do is essentially get out of the way.
Correct.
What'd you like from Ohio State?
I liked how they allowed Akron to cover, because on SportsCenter,
we
were like, give me the 50.5. But what I like about Ohio State, I know it's encapsulated in 1 week, but Ryan Day knows that this has to be the season. That, yes, you can win as many regular season games as you want, but if you don't win the game the week before Thanksgiving, the game against that team up north, it does not matter, and I think Ryan Day knows that this year.
Would you take them or the Big Ten field to win the college football playoff?
I mean, as of right now, we're knee-jerk, we're doing hot takes, but nothing indicative after the first week's performance that tells me it's not going to be Ohio State scratching and clawing for a top 4 seed in terms of a bye week, and then you get to host the game. So yes, right now, Big Ten. Even though
that's the right answer.
Even though, hey, USC looked pretty good.
They did.
And you sort of forget about them. Oh wait, USC now a member of the Big Ten.
They got a new defensive coordinator. They shut down, to an extent, LSU. They kept LSU out of the end zone. It was a bend but don't break. How about just break everybody? How about beat the brakes off of teams? Let's get to Georgia. Let's get to Georgia. The Bulldogs came correct. Listen, another game in Atlanta, they win. Another game, neutral site against a top 20 foe.
Last time we checked, Atlanta's in Georgia.
Okay, but Clemson campus is pretty darn close to Atlanta as well. They maybe set Clemson back, maybe set Dabo back, the whole thing. When you look at Georgia, how are you taking the Bulldogs right now? Are you taking Bulldogs or the entirety of the college football field to win the CFP?
I love Georgia. Obviously, we are homies with L. Duncan, so we are sipping the Kool-Aid every single day here in Athens North, Bristol, Connecticut. We're too spoiled after seeing what Georgia does year in and year out. Last year, kept out of the playoffs. It would have had him winning a third national championship under Kirby Smart. That being said, Carson Beck, obviously, in the Heisman conversation after just the season. Give me the field, because the playoff field has expanded. There's going to be so many variables, so many different X factors.
Yeah.
And who knows what this playoff expanded is going to look like. Chaos is going to ensue, which is good for us. Might not be good for somebody who's just like, let me just be one of 4 in. You get a 25% chance of winning. You open up the odds, who knows what happens.
Man, I look at this, though. I think Georgia's a group of grown men.
Yes.
I think they're massive question marks at Texas. Defensively, they lost so much talent.
Correct.
Michigan's not the same. We're going to get that answer
But just look,
coming up.
Look at the SEC. Ole Miss, you said Tennessee might be sneaky good.
Yeah. Ole Miss is going to the playoffs.
Texas, and then obviously Bama.
Yeah.
Bama.
There's a ton there.
It's 5 teams.
Talk about Oklahoma. Oklahoma could trip
Correct.
schools up. Like, I get it. The road, I'll say this. The road to the playoff is going to be tougher for Georgia than the actual playoff. If they get there, they win it. So why wouldn't I take Georgia against the rest of the field? I'm taking the Dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, and I get to be better friends with Duncan.
Respectively
as a
disagree.
result. Let's get to the aforementioned Alabama Crimson Tide. Jalen Milroe returns.
Sure.
Looked great.
They looked awesome.
In their season opener.
They looked awesome.
All due respect, they're punching down a weight class in their opener, but they're going to get the SEC slate just like everybody else will. Are you taking, hear me out, follow me on this, Bama or a non-Georgia SEC field to win the CFB?
Last week, this would have been immediately give me the field. I'm high on the Kalen DeBoer supply.
Okay.
We have to remember, first and foremost, Nick Saban was here pushing 2 decades. He has instilled the infrastructure, the systems, the processes that funnel talent to Tuscaloosa. Let's get that established out of the way. Coach DeBoer came from a Washington team that last year was playing in the national championship game. He knows how to recruit. He knows how to win in his small sample size with the Huskies. And yes, it benefited him having Michael Penix Jr. being the quarterback transferring from Indiana. But what I saw from them hanging up 60, not skipping a beat in week 1 again. It's just week 1, but Alabama looks good. Alabama looks like they didn't miss a step, and it has a lot to do with what Kalen DeBoer brought to Washington, what Nick Saban left, specifically Jalen Milroe.
And Coach Saban's there, and
correct.
Listen, I don't say this flippantly. I don't say this with even a hint of annoyance. It helps to have deep pockets right now in college football. It does. It does. And the NIL at Bama is among the best in the SEC.
Because what else are they spending their money on in Alabama?
But they can still do it.
Fishing boats.
But they can still do it the old-fashioned way. They can still get out there and recruit. And what Kalen DeBoer was able to do is draw Michael Penix all the way out to Seattle when the Dogs out there were a bit down.
Sure.
Where the Huskies were a bit down. And now you come to Tuscaloosa, you got more resources, more pedigree. They lost some leadership. I worry about that down the stretch. But the fact that this includes Georgia, I'm taking the Bama and Georgia side of this coin. I'm not taking.
You know who gained leadership?
Who's that?
This show.
How so?
With you on it.
Well, to that end, I'm about to punch holes in that ship.
Oh, okay.
That ship is about to take on water.
Oh, really?
I'm going to give you,
Gary. Take you back.
Well, last week, you and Scooby were holding down the fort. You gave everyone your college football playoff
I did.
Right.
Don't ask me to recount the 12 teams.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm going to give you mine.
Okay.
You got Gary's last week. These are the winners. We're going to update the picture.
NC State, huh?
Picture's about 7 years old. Number 1. I'm not 7 years old in the picture. That picture.
You have a youthful exuberance is how people describe you.
I was getting more sleep back then. I had less stress. Number 1 is Georgia. Okay, listen. Do I sleep a couple hours a night? Yeah. Do I sleep on my face? Also, yeah. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Miami. Okay. Because Miami's schedule, I'm sorry, am I stepping in frosting and fondant?
Because those are cupcakes.
It's a cakewalk.
Fondant.
It's an absolute cakewalk.
You're upper middle class, bro.
Number 4 is
icing.
Bama. Did you know you can eat fondant?
What is that? Is that the hard? Is that the crystallized sugar?
You can eat anything with the right attitude.
You can eat anything once.
Number 4, Alabama. Number 5 is Texas. Okay. 6 is Notre Dame, also because of the schedule. They're probably not going to finish 6th. I believe there's a rule where the conference champions get the first 6 spots.
Understood.
Penn State at 7. Okay. Finally, this is expanded enough to include the Nittany Lions.
Sure.
Oregon at 8. I think they right the ship after a not great against Idaho week 1. I love Utah.
Big 12 champs?
Love Utah.
Big 12 champs?
Yeah.
Not Colorado?
9 for you. Not Colorado.
Okay.
9 for Utah. Oklahoma at 10. Ole Miss gets in. And then keep an eye on the Wolfpack.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Dangerous to sleep around the Wolfpack of NC State, but don't sleep on them.
Can I get one of these?
Don't sleep on him.
Wolfpack?
That's what you do.
Come here.
Do one
bring
of
it
these.
in. Just
my
bring it in.
My hand really hurts after.
Oh.
My hand really hurts after what Trevor Matich did to it. So that really hurt.
NC State, I thought would be risky, but then I saw how Florida State looked. I was like, no, we're good.
Yeah, because you can spend
money. Then I saw how Clemson looked. I was like, no, we're good.
Spend money in the portal. Just spend it on the right people. Coach Saban had a line about that on game day. It kind of broke the internet. Let's get to some other notable games.
Let's do that.
Around the slate, we speak of the Nittany Lions on the Big Ten Network, 12 p.m. Eastern, against Bowling Green. They are hosting these 8th-ranked Nittany Lions, starting their 2024 campaign at home. First of 4 home games for them before a showdown with USC. That's coming off a resounding win against West Virginia. Penn State opening up as 34.5-point favorites. Northern Illinois is at 5th-ranked Notre Dame. That's at 3:30 Eastern. Number 5 Notre Dame coming off an impressive road win.
Finally, Notre Dame gets to play a tough opponent.
Against A&M. Well, listen, they went down to Aggieland and won. Now they get these Huskies. Fighting Irish without star receiver Jordan Faison. He suffered an injury last week.
Shout out to the Fighting Nicole Briscoes, too. Northern Illinois, you weren't going to mention that?
No, I was not going to mention. I don't know who that is. Number 11 Utah is hosting Baylor. Cam Rising is back. Cam Rising, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
Say it.
They're called doctors. Cam Rising is back again. He accounted for 5 touchdowns in the
3
season
red
opener.
shirts.
Yeah, well, he missed all of last season with an injury.
Yep.
We're going to see if a Big 12 opponent's enough to slow down that attack. Nichols is at 18th-ranked LSU. I don't know what Tiger situation we're going to get. LSU gets a tough loss to USC in Vegas out of the chute. One of 3 ranked teams to drop their opener last week. Good news, though, LSU's won 36 straight games against in-state opponents. Their last loss, 1982, against Tulane. I heard Tulane was expanding this year.
4 lanes?
4 lanes. Nice. Nicely done. Dang it, we work together too much. ABC primetime game, 7:30 Eastern. Number 14, Tennessee.
Oh, you're packed!
At number 24, NC State. 4th time these schools have met. Tennessee leads the series 2-1. 5th time NC State's played in a ranked matchup in a regular season non-conference game. They've lost 3 of the previous 4.
My favorite thing about you is anybody that joins the studio, you'll ride with them like Kenny Chesney with Tennessee.
Oftentimes through the course of a college football season, Gary, you get a situation where you're like, man, what was that coach thinking?
Yep.
What was that player thinking, that fan, that mascot, whatever it was you want to know? We're going to bring the viewer behind the looking glass.
Yeah, let's
It is
do
time
that.
for the first installment of the College Football Translator. We go back to South Carolina. Juju McDowell taking the handoff, and who brings him down outside?
His own guy, man, Lenora Sellers, his freaking quarterback, man.
What was he thinking?
Yeah, here's the thing. I watch a lot of true crime, watch a lot of Dateline. You know that as a top 30 best friend of mine.
Top 30.
And the investigators say when you're looking at a victim, you have to look to their closest person. The person that's closest to him, the proximity principle, right? It's oftentimes not a stranger. It's oftentimes the guy who's handing you the ball, right? The one you share a bed with. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going down in South Carolina, but when I watch Dateline, I know how that kind of came across.
Yeah.
Listen, I sleep with one eye open. I trust nobody. Randy sleeps in jeans.
Don't sleep. Well, that's not true. Don't sleep on it. They're very comfortable. LSU get the 4-way stretch. LSU would lose to South Carolina. Brian Kelly was not happy. Here's what he said post-game.
And we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent.
No, what Kelly probably wanted to say is, please, you pound the podium, don't fire me.
Yes.
They've lost again. That's 5 straight season openers that they've lost.
Yeah.
Some of them are larger stages, better opponents, sure. Brian Kelly hasn't been on board for all of them, but this is 3 straight that he has lost. 3 in a row. Right now, we mentioned our college football playoff. I think on any college football playoff list, you could get 4 or 5 SEC teams.
Yeah.
I don't know that you would find a credible one that has LSU on it right now. That's the problem. It's not finishing games. It's having a playoff caliber roster in a stacked conference. It just got better with Texas and Oklahoma joining.
Rife in the fam.
Yeah. All right, check out this beauty. You mentioned earlier you watch a lot of true crime.
I do.
This is drama.
Oh.
That is JMU quarterback.
Was that a crime that was just committed?
Alonzo Barnett III. He wanted to sell to get that. He saw the call, right?
He
Tried
did.
to draw the personal foul
He did.
penalty. He did. What was probably going through his
Well,
head?
he's like, hey, listen, man, fighting James Madison's, right? JMU, let's go. Does this mean I'm going to play on Sundays? Probably not. So you need to have a plan B. You got to be ready to go pro in more than sports. Okay?
Yes.
And he is like, hey, listen, not going to be playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Let me be a professional thespian.
Do you think his teammate who gave him chest compressions was also a top 30 friend? Don't answer that. Thank you for watching the Kickoff.
I would say top 5.
By Ram Trucks. Enjoy the football in week 2.
I miss you already.